Good evening, everyone. Uh, Welcome you all to the TiE Woman Masterclass on Customer Discovery, Problem Validation, and Market Opportunity by Ramees Ali. So, for the welcome address, I would like to invite Ms. Dr. Nisha Jose, TiE Woman Chair for TiE Kerala, and she's also the chairperson for KM Mani Center for Budget Research. She has been instrumental in leading Thai Women Kerala, driving initiatives that encourage, support, and empower women entrepreneurs across the state. So I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Akarsha. My voice is audible, right?
Ma'am, yes.
Good evening and welcome each and every one of you to today's TiE Women Kerala Masterclass. We're really delighted to have you with us. And I'm sure you're all looking forward to a highly insightful and practical session. I correct that. It's not going to be highly, but it's going to be deeply insightful and practical. And today we have with us Mr. Ramees Ali, co-founder of CRAV. He was also formerly the co-founder of Interval, one of Kerala's leading ed tech startups. Ramees is a passionate entrepreneur who has built and scaled successful ventures by focusing on solving real life customer problems. His contributions to the startup ecosystem have been widely recognized, earning him the TiE Kerala Startup Entrepreneur of the Year 2023 award and AIMA Young Entrepreneur of the Year 2024. In today's masterclass on customer discovery, problem validation, and market opportunity, he will share practical frameworks and real world insights on understanding customer needs, validating business ideas, and identifying market opportunities that can lead to sustainable startup growth. And I'm sure all of you will find this session immensely valuable. Without further ado, please join me in extending a very, very, very warm TiE Women Kerala welcome to Mr. Ramees Ali. Over to you, Ramees.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, hi all, myself Ramees Ali. So, as Nisha ma'am just mentioned, I previously built an edtech company. It was basically a personalized learning platform for K-12 students. Then later, I got an exit in 2025 and started my second startup this year. So basically, I'm from the northern part of Kerala, but right now I live in Kochi. So that's some basic information about me. But before I tell you deeply who I am, I actually want to ask you something. Maybe you can drop your answers in the comment box. I just wanted to know who is your customer, since we are talking about customers, market, problem validation, and all. I just wanted to know about the kind of customers you have. Maybe you can drop a one liner uh if you can just drop it in the comment box. It will take a lot of time if I call names and get to know about you and your venture or your customers. So it's better you, yeah, yeah, I'm getting some comments. Elderly, importers and exporters in the trade industry, modest active hair, ecotourism builders, corporate gifting, sustainable products, infrastructure developers. Yeah, nice. Any more answers? Doctors and drug distributors. Yeah. Culture promoting ragdolls. Nice. Yeah, children and tourists. Okay, you can just keep commenting, keep using the comment box as our primary chat system. Maybe it's not very easy to communicate in an online sessions in one-on-one and all. So you can keep doing this. You can keep asking questions or keep answering in the comment box itself. So can you notice something here? Like most of the answers actually describe a crowd, right? Basically, crowd and customers are different, and this is exactly why most of the startups struggle in their 1 to 10 stage. Maybe it's quite easy in the 0 to 1 stage, but after the zero to 1 seed stage, it's quite difficult to do the marketing and scale revenue due to this particular problem. It's not because the idea is bad or maybe the startup has less potential. It is mostly not because the founders are not working hard, but it is because they lack some kind of clarity. That is what I have seen among the youth or young entrepreneurs especially. They lack they lack a lot of clarity. So maybe today we'll talk a little bit more about clarities. We need clarity around customer. We need clarity about around our problem statement, and maybe we even need clarity about why we are doing this. So we'll talk more about clarity itself, and we'll try to cover the whole thing in next 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll have 15 to 20 minutes conversation around some questions or doubts as well. So to start with, I would like to divide the conversation about clarity into three layers. Maybe we'll start with the first layer, that is why. Clarity on why we are doing this. Because it is very important to understand the why and have clarity regarding why before going to a market. And the second thing is clarity regarding the customer. And third thing is clarity regarding your focus or you as a founder. So we have these three layers of clarity. We'll be talking about it. So as I said, most of the startups fail due to this lack of clarity. Lack of clarity about why you are building, or lack of clarity about who you are building for, or maybe lack of clarity about what you are choosing not to do. And there are different reasons why most of the young founders, I would say young founders, because that's whom I have been addressing for the last few months. So these young people are very less focused or more distracted due to lack of clarity around their market and their customers. So to start with, why most young people actually they start because they wanted to become an entrepreneur. That's the most prominent or most common reason I have seen among youngsters or among youth entrepreneurs. They just wanted to start something. They just wanted to become a startup founder. They just wanted to become an entrepreneur. And maybe some of them don't want to go for a typical job. So basically, most of you would have not knew that such kind of reasons are not typically the one which takes you a longer distance, or which takes you to a which takes you to solve a bigger problem. Actually, even I want to build 100 crore company doesn't make sense to me at this point. I actually started Interval not because I wanted to become a CEO, not because I wanted to earn a lot of money, and even not because I wanted to run a startup. I was actually taking classes to kids aged between 2.5 to 8 years in my neighborhood. I started my teaching career while I was 19. I used to teach kids till my 23 or 24 age. So I knew what these kids were actually lacking in a traditional classroom setting, whether it's school or tuition center. They actually were lacking kind of personal attention, and in every traditional classrooms, these kids were not actually finding their fullest potential due to this void space. So that is why I started something in offline setting, which actually caters to each and every kid, helping them to understand their full potential. So initially, Interval was a physical center, which consists of maybe 15 teachers for 20 students. That's how it worked. But later COVID came in 2019-20 time. That's when we started online. Online where each kid gets a separate teacher for separate subjects. So if there are 10,000 students learning at right at this moment, there will be 10,000 teachers taking care of them. So that's how we started. And then later we expanded to 60 plus countries, having 20,000 teachers across 10 plus countries. And we taught everything from music, dance to even cooking lessons to kids aged 2.5 years. And most of the revenue were actually coming from the academic part itself. So that's how Interval was built. The so basically what I would like to say is, if your why is about you or about something that is very materialistic, you will quit when it gets hard. If your why is about someone else, you will keep going even when it should make no sense to keep going, right? So basically during this COVID period, we actually switched to online and built an online platform only because we wanted to take care of the kids we had on our platform. So our physical setting had kids around 150 to 200 numbers. So we don't want them to suffer due to COVID, because classes were not there, schools were not there. They were actually fully depending upon us to build their skills and build their learning ecosystem. So that's why we started online. So what I truly believe is that if you cannot answer why you are building this in maybe one or two sentence, you might feel it very hard to scale in your second stage. And I would really want to state it again that wanting to be a founder or wanting to be an entrepreneur is not a why. It is basically a costume that you are wearing. If you want to become a CEO, if you want to become a starter founder, or you want to become an entrepreneur, which is very trending, a trending designation in LinkedIn, I would say that is not a kind of why you would actually want it. It's just a costume. You keep changing that. And a good why even does not need motivation. It is the thing that wakes you up before motivation does. And even money, fame, freedom, all are just outcomes, not reasons for you to start with. So if you have a clear why, if you have a clear understanding of why you started this, that clarity itself will help you to build a product, find a market, and even find your real customers. So that is why I wanted to enhance something around the why. Now coming to the clarity of customer, as I said, you all stated some kind of customer groups, right? But actually most of the so-called customer group or target customers you mentioned are actually crowds. So when you say something like, I will take myself as an example. So my platform is actually catering to kids aged between 2.5 to 14 years, right? So when I say my customer is kids aged between this and this, that is actually the crowd. Actually, my customers are not kids, right? So I had to live around my product and market around 2 3 years for me to understand this. So for a long time, edtech founders in India assumed that their customer was the student, the kid using the app, or maybe the young learner, or maybe uh, something else that kids love, right? But actually, that was not our target customers. I had to learn something different. My customer is never the kid. Actually, my customer is the parent. So specifically, the parents who wants their child to achieve what they themselves wished for or could not. So especially in India, there are only two kind of parents: parents who are educated and parents who are not educated. So parents who are educated know the importance of educations, because all the goodwill, all the social and economic resources they have right now were acquired due to their education. So they know the importance of education, and people who did not got the proper education know the importance of education, because they were actually lacking all those stuff due to their lack of uh, proper education. So basically, parents who want their children to achieve what they themselves wished for or could not, those were the target customers of any edtech in India. So the parent who looks at their child and sees a second chance, maybe not for the child but for themselves, that is who pays, that is who decides, and that is who every edtech founder in India should build for, right? So once I understood that, everything changed. The way I priced changed, the way I communicated changed, and the way I designed the parent dashboard changed, the way I train my teachers changed. And the kid is just an user, right? The kid's experience has to be brilliant, but the kid is not the one who pays you. The kid is not the one who writes you checks, or the kid is not the one who take their UPI and pays you. The parent does. The parent is buying a dream of their own, and it's not a product. So parent is basically buying their own dreams. So parents do not buy any edtech. They buy the version of their child they have been dreaming of. So once I understood that, things were much easier for me. So understanding this clarity layer across or around customers is very important. I will tell you some other examples as well. So considering some other startups, let's take Meesho. So Meesho, when we think about Meesho, Meesho is a direct competitor of Flipkart or Amazon, right? So who are the target customers of Flipkart and Amazon? Those are the people of tier 1 and tier 2 cities of India. At least in the pre-COVID time, those were the people with a basic salary, or with a above average salary, and living in metro cities or tier 1 tier 2 cities. So when Meesho came, everyone thought that they are serving the similar market, but actually the target customers of Meesho were women living in tier 2 tier 3 cities, or maybe tier 4 towns, who are actually trying to get a fixed monthly income and does not want to migrate to another cities to have a living. So those were the right target customers of Meesho, and this group actually scaled Meesho very organically. So this kind of understanding helps you a lot. And even there is another example which I would like to state is Zerodha. So when Zerodha came, they were actually competing with stockbrokers, right? So stockbrokers were actually serving people who were top 1% earning community of India, and those were the persons who were actually investing in stocks and all. But later, when the internet penetration came to India, the Kamath brothers, who are the founders of Zerodha, thought that there will be a decentralization of such kind of investments and investing environment, and every people with internet will start investing in it. So they never targeted the top 1%. Instead, they targeted professionals and students with a basic income, and taught them, motivated them to invest a small percentage. So that's how Zerodha becomes Zerodha. They right now do 10,000 crore revenue, right? So all these kind of revolutionary products, revolutionary startups were built on top of the clarity of customers. So basically, uh, some realities which I learned in the hard way were, uh, you should never think yourself as the sole customer. You are not your customer, right? So stop designing for yourself. You can't design every features, every product considering you as an user. So your user is not always your customer. That is another thing. As I mentioned for Interval, which is my own startup, your user is not always your customer. Find out who is actually paying and who is actually the decision maker. That is who you are building for. So everyone is not a customer. If your customer is everyone, your customer is no one. That is what I would like to say. So when you say your customers are manufacturers or retailers or doctors or schools, or maybe every B2B tech company, you are not actually serving to anyone. You are actually serving to no one. So you should have a clear niche which you are focusing on, and until you describe your customer in a way that excludes most of the planet, you do not know your customer. So let's say if doctors are your potential customers, you should actually narrow down it to at least 5% of the entire doctor community. You had to find out features, you have to find out some kind of filters to narrow it down and remove majority of the population among doctors. So maybe you can try finding or redefining the same questions answers, that is, who is your customer. You can find something which points towards a very narrow community. That's how you should do it. So there is a question. We keep answering the questions also. If the product is a drug, it's accurate to list doctors and drug distributors as the customer, or must we state the patient as the customer instead of being the user? No, if it is a drug, in country like India, most of the drugs are sold by doctors itself. So whether it's hospitals or clinics, there are certain kind of business models which is actually working in a good way and which cannot be reinvented very easily. So there are like people who go B2B and talk to doctors, talk to CEOs of hospitals and sell drugs, right? So that is one successful business model right now we have in our healthcare. So maybe in that kind of scenario, drug distributors, or maybe there are companies who are selling drugs, means who act as mediators between hospitals and pharmaceutical companies. You can see themselves as your customers, or you can see doctors as your customers. Either way it works, but the thing is that maybe you'll have to narrow it down in a way that how the product should penetrate, whether it should start with metro cities, then go to villages of the country, or you start with villages of the country then come to metro cities. And even you will have to decide whether you should start it from the northern part of India or southern part of India, or you start with clinics or super specialties. So there are a lot of way to narrow it down your funnel. So it's always better to start with a very niche community and later expand your target customers. So once you have the clarity of your customers, you should know whom to sell and whom not to sell. So that kind of focus is the more real motive you have while scaling your startup. So in interval, as I said, during my journey, there were a lot of incidents, there were a lot of opportunities, there were a lot of questions around this one-on-one learning platform. So a lot of investors asked us, pressured us to start some the recording classes. So during 2021-22 time, that was the golden era of edtech in India. Most of the edtechs, means 99% of the edtechs, were actually having recorded classes which have comparatively low operational cost. So capex is high, but opex was very low. So a lot of investors pushed us to convert ourselves into such kind of business model, and even pushed us to start recorded classes. Then they compelled us to start programs that were in group, like 1 to 100 or 1 to 150, but we never did that because we actually started with a why, right? So that why was something that helped us to overcome every mental, physical, legal, economic issues, challenges we had. So we never wanted to compromise on that why. So personalized approach was something which we believed as our core. We focused on giving such things. So Interval is a one-on-one learning platform till now. From day one, I have said no to group classes like every single time. And on paper, this looks insane. Like group classes have better unit economics, like one teacher, 20 students, maybe 20 times the revenue per hour. And investors have told me to add group classes multiple times, like 10 plus times, I would say, like in the AGMs. But advisors have told me to add group classes. But even my team members and even few of my co-founders also were questioning about the same during our meetings and all. And even the market has told me to add group classes. Like there is a whole industry built on them, right? And every time I have said no because I could not compromise, and I actually wanted to focus and build something in the personalized learning sessions. Right now, even all the investors, like all the team members and even co-founders, are quite bit convinced on how much big is the potential of such market. So what I would say is every founder I know who said yes to everything ended up with a company that was good at nothing. So that is one learning I had during this journey. Like every founder I know who built something that lasted said no more than they said yes. So saying no to opportunities is the most underrated skill every founder should have. So I would say focus is not a productivity skill. It is basically a survival skill. You should have such kind of survival skills uh, to build a large customer base, I would say, or build a customer base very organically. And now is the clarity of self. So once you know who is the market, once you know who is the customer, before validating the problem and all, I would say you should know like who do you need to become for the company to grow. Like what are your strengths, what are your weakness, and you need people who can become complementary to your skills. So that is very important, having people with complementary skill sets as co-founders or as maybe top leaders of your company. That is very important. So once you have this kind of clarity, it will help you a lot to build a strong customer base, identify customers and all. Now, this is regarding the customer, and along with the customer's problem, your problem statement or your problem is something that needs to be validated in different ways, right? So I will give you three, four tests which you can ask yourself to understand whether your problem really exists, or maybe your problem is a scalable or investable one. So there are different perspectives to uh, identify and evaluate your problem. So there are problem statements which you can build a startup right now. There are problem statements which you can build a fundable startup right now. Then there are problem statements which can be used to build startups that will take 10 to 50 years to build 10 to 15 years to build a startup. So it's up to the founders to choose what kind of problems you want to solve. But in an investor point of view, so as I said, in a founder point of view, it is very subjective. As a founder, you can select what kind of problems you want to solve. Whether you want to solve something in the past or present or future, it's totally up to you. But in an investor point of view, uh, one test which I would say is regarding the intensity of the pain. Like, is it painful? The problem is painful. If the pain creates urgency. So this urgency is very important because this urgency actually shows how big is your market and uh, how growing is your market. And along with the pain, I would say the frequency is the second test. Like, how frequent is the pain? So if you find a problem which is really painful, and if you solve it for one time, and if it is not recurring, means I don't know whether it's a scalable business model or whether you can build a successful startup around it. Let's take a few examples, right? So, since all of you are Indians, I would say q-commerce is one industry which you can look for. So, every time you order something on Zepto, Blinkit, or Swiggy, Instamart, or Amazon Now, or Flipkart Minutes, irrespective of the platform, every time you order it, you will become more addictive to q-commerce. And every time you solve the problem gets much bigger and bigger. So when I migrate, as I said, I actually lived in a very rural space. It's called Arikod. It was 40 kilometers from the town of Calicut. It's a very rural place. My whole company, even the international headquarters, which had like 500 people last year, was actually situated in the same village itself. So I was not actually knowing about this cucumbers industry and all. But when I migrated to Kochi, I started ordering few vegetables in cucumbers, then started ordering eggs and milk, and now even I order electronic gadgets from cucumbers. So that's how industries should be, right? It is very investable, and it is very promising because I would say yearly problems create yearly businesses, whereas daily problems create billion-dollar businesses. So every time we order something on Blinkit or any e-commerce platform, the problem gets bigger and bigger. And one other mandatory test would be, are people actually ready to pay it? So if you ask me, maybe 10 years ago about cucumbers, or whether you ask me, right now you are getting online deliveries in 3 to 4 days, will you be paying X amount extra if you get it in 10 minutes? I would be thinking like, why do I need it in 10 minutes? That would be my kind of response. But today it has changed, right? So if people spend money today, you don't need to educate the market. So cucumbers maybe 10 years ago was not a very investable business, but right now it is investable business because you don't need to educate market is already educated, already it has the awareness. So if people spend money today, if people are ready to pay, it's a good market. And the next text you should be looking should be around the growth. Like, is it growing? That is the kind of test you need. Look for trends: a healthcare, climate, aging, manufacturing, creative economy. So creative economy is something which I believe would be the next big thing in Kerala, or at least in the southern part of India. And even I am very convinced about how Korea built an entire fashion industry, entire beauty and other healthcare products around or on top of their Korean drama and K-pop. So that kind of stories influenced me a lot to start something in the creative economy. So these are the kind of tests which you should ask yourself to validate your problem statement. And one additional should be, if you are a bootstrapped startup. If you are a fundraised startup, it's okay. If you are a bootstrapped startup, you should ask that whether your CAC exceeds LTV. So CAC means customer acquisition cost and LTV means lifetime value. So CAC is the cost which you will incur to acquire one customer, and LTV is the value or amount that particular customer brings to your company. So can you reach customers cheaply? That is the whole point. And if CAC exceeds LTV, doesn't matter how the great product is, it will be hard to build a business around it or scale the business unless you are funded. So if you are bootstrapped, it is very important to validate your problem along with this unit economics, CAC and LTV. So that is a kind of clarity you need around your problem validation. So that is some of the few insights which I would like to share around problem, customers, and market and all. Some thumb rules or some ideas which I gathered with my journey. So maybe we'll take more time to discuss around your problem statements and around your customers. Maybe we'll dedicate the rest of the time to Q&A. So if you have any questions or doubts or anything to comment, you can just use the comment box.
Hey, Ramesh, great to listen to you. I have a question about your journey, Ramesh.
Yeah.
So when you were building Interval, so there is a time that you were probably not sure whether it is going to be 100% successful or not. And you just started and you got the capital and it was somehow getting bootstrapped. Then you reached a particular stage where you felt that, okay, now I figured out things and it can actually scale its own. And you become very confident. So was there a particular moment where you realized that, or it is a very gradual, time frame? And
It's
if you felt, okay, things are going in different track in your favor, what was the thing that made you be confident? confident? What were the signals that you got?
Yeah, that's a great question actually, and I loved the last part. I actually somehow forgot to answer it. I usually tell it in every session, even before people ask about it. So there are a lot of times when I question myself, my family questioned about me, my partner questioned about my future of my startup, because I actually got married in 2021. While I was getting married, I had a loan of around 1.2 crore with me. So even my parents and even my partner were not so confident about my startup and all during a lot of time, but they have somehow supported like every time, and both mentally, physically, and even financially. But something which helped me to tackle any kind of situation around was incidents around my customer satisfaction. So as I said, we actually started this to solve the problems which we feel is very important, and those were the problems which helped us to build everything, every products in our product line. We have 1,000+ courses, like every courses were built on top of the problems faced by kids. So that is one part, the customer part, and the second part is the employment part. Like we have 20,000 teachers who are from the rural towns of Kerala mostly, and few from countries like Indonesia and Thailand. So even if it's Thailand or Indonesia or any village in Kerala, when I go and I say I am Ramees Ali and I am the co-founder of Interval, I get a hands raised from the crowd and say ABC of my family or XYZ of one of my friend is working in Interval, and then they just share how their lives changed after getting enrolled to Interval. And a lot of situations when parents actually came to me and said that you are the real teacher, and you, even I was not the one who taught them. I am just the founder of a platform where they learn, right? But still they consider me as me as their teacher or mentor of their kid, and they show the love and all their emotions about some kind of milestones they had in their kids journey. So all kind of such incidents around customer satisfaction helped us a lot to tackle emotional and other kind of pressures which we had. So whenever we think about the loans and debts we have, whenever we face some kind of people problems, even my company is a very big company in terms of number of employees, whether it's teachers or even non-teaching staffs, were around 500 to 600 people in my office working offline, right? So there will be a hell lot of people problems. So whenever I get a little bit distracted or a little bit tensed about such kind of problems, these customer satisfaction points give us helps us a lot. And even I have a WhatsApp group where I have some of my customer experience team, and I am still part. Even after the exit, I'm still part of that group. I have exited almost all other groups, but I'm still part of this group because I would love to listen voices and audios shared by parents and kids. So that is something which motivates me a lot, and it helped me a lot. Hope it will help anyone. The kind of
Awesome.
impact we build in society.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So if any one of you have any kind of questions or something to discuss about your own customers, market, or startups, you can just raise your hands or unmute yourself or just post it in the comments.
Hi, Ramesh. This is Hiba. And
Hi.
thank you so much for your session. And it was very inspiring. And I was actually searching uh, by parallel what is interval and how things are going. Actually, I got very inspired from your story. And thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
this valuable time of yours. And I do have one question regarding the bootstrap system. So I was building a modest activewear, which is not now, but I'm trying to build one brand. So it is right now in a bootstrap model. So whoever
Do
I
you have
go,
an Instagram page?
yes, I do have.
What
Uh,
is it?
and not in the brand, but in my name.
Okay, okay. No, I was asking about the brand.
Oh, okay. Now, brand actually, I was in the production phase now. So,
Okay.
okay. So I was thinking like whenever whoever I go to, the advice they are telling me like, okay, do some of the designs and then launch your brand, then make it profitable and go for an investor pitch. So is it the right way, or how did you manage such situation?
Yeah, it's like every industry have some kind of norms whether you should go completely bootstrapped or fundraising, but it's totally up to founders. There are people who start ethics and D2C brands with completely fundraised. It's again the kind of privileges you have. Like fundraising is not some kind of validation. Fundraising is a fuel. So if you want to scale from A to B in people usually, let's say if you have 1 crore and you want to scale it to 10 crore, it might take 2 3 years, right? But if you can fundraise and do it in 6 months, that is great, right? So fundraising is a kind of fuel which will accelerate your growth. So it's totally up to you to decide what is your growth, right? If it's 10%, it's totally fine. If it's 1000%, again it's totally fine. It's totally up to the founder. And if you ask me whether a modest wear should raise funds before launch, I would say definitely no, because it would take, I would say, less than 10 lakhs Indian rupees to start a modest wear, to my understanding. So maybe if you can raise it from your friends or family, or if you can get a loan, or maybe some startup grants, you can easily complete your 0 to 1 at least product stage, which will help you to launch on the market. And I would say there are a lot of modest wear in the market right now itself, and you need to find something as your differentiation or as your moat, right? So it's obviously for any D2C brands, it's the marketing strategy, or your marketing strategy is your moat, or moat means your differentiation. So if you can build a marketing strategy which is not easily which cannot be easily copied, that is your real moat, and that is one point which will helps you to raise funds.
Yes, got it. Thank you so much.
Hi, Ramees. Carolyn this side.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm the founder of IOTA. So it's an IT and IoT solution providing company. And currently we are working for automobile sector. So we have like complete end-to-end, sorry, end-to-end application like CRM, ERP application for an automobile dealership. So what challenges currently I'm facing is like these dealership already have certain, for example, Maruti Suzuki dealership have their own set of the softwares like CRM and CRM software, but there are some limitations towards it. Sometimes the data is not being displayed or due to some updation, not complete picture is not there. So what we have developed is like an end-to-end completely uh, um, fully automated system. So what in this is like you will get every details from of a customer journey, inventory management system, maintenance service, everything. So right now, what problem I'm facing is like I know like which who is my customer and the problem which I'm solving. But in terms of market opportunity, I'm getting very deviated. I'm not able to find the correct person actually because currently we are very bootstrap. We are doing very bootstrap. We have not raised any fund or might be we started by three friends and all. So we want to expand our thing. We know
Okay.
who are our targeted customer, but we are not able to like get into that particular place.
I
Like, do
think
you have any idea like how I can approach to this? Because I have consulted like few dealership and all, but I'm not getting the right person to
Yeah,
talk
got it.
about.
It's like a very big market in terms of revenue, maybe, but small in terms of number of customers, right? If I hope you are from Kerala. If you take Kerala, there
Okay.
are only 40 to 50 dealers in the automobile industry. So I think the issue is not with your problem statement. Your problem statement is ideal and is relatable too. I think it has some scope, but the I think the solution statement which you said is not as precise. Like you can never automate any industry fully. That is the kind of idea
Yeah.
I have. So if you say you are giving end-to-end automations, I don't think that would serve. I would suggest you to rephrase or consider something in terms that is more relatable for them. If you can say that your automations helps their uh, expense to get reduced by 10% or 20% or increase their sales efficiency in 5
Mhm.
to 10%, or if you can devise something like this, it may be more easy for you to convert the sales.
Okay, okay. So that wordings matters a lot, right?
Wordings matters a lot because when you say fully automated, they consider it as they are already completely automated. So since you said about Maruti, especially Indus and KVR, considers themselves as the most successful dealers in Kerala, though they are not.
Yeah, true.
So you should tell them what are they lacking, and you should tell them how are your solutions creating an impact in their platform. So it's
Mm.
again regarding sales conversion rate. They have, let's say, if their conversion rate is 8.2%, you can say you can increase your conversion rate from 8.2% to 9.4% using automations ABC, and automations DEF will help you to reduce your expenses or maybe reduce your manpower by 3%, which will reduce your expense by 3.5%. So such kind of solution statement will help them to understand why this platform is so important.
Yeah. And one more question to you. I know that this is none of this topic, but still, would like to get an answer from your end as
Sure,
well.
sure.
So like, which is the best person like to approach this? Because currently, when I approach, it was a CMO of the particular institute, or like who is the like decision maker? Because I believe all the CCUs are the decision maker at the some specific
Yeah,
point of time. Yeah.
it's a tricky question, I would say, because for different organizations, it works very differently. So
Yeah. True.
If you take Indus, I would say founders are the sole decision makers over there. And if you ask me about DKH, I would say founders has a lot of influence. And if you ask about Bridgeway, I would say their senior managers have more authority regarding such decisions. So it's very subjective.
Yeah. And how about if we look into abroad, like Qatar and UAE and all. So who is the decision maker over
Um, Honestly, I don't have any
there?
idea
Okay.
about distributor
Good.
level.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ramesh.
Yeah, I think I can take one or two questions more. So if there are no more questions, then I think we can wind up, right?
So I think we can wind up.
Sure, sure. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you and all. Hope to see you at some events or maybe some other sessions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you,
guys.
Ramesh. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.